Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for Carnage, Black, White, and Red. It's been on my Kindle for ages. I love Carnage, I love symbiote stories, and I just never got around to reading this one. I have a handful of Carnage and Venom type stories that I just haven't touched yet, but I've read a ton of it. I love this stuff. And I didn't know what the Black, White, and Blood era series, whatever it was, for these comics. Basically, it's a short story collection, for anybody who doesn't know. 4 issues, but like 3 stories per issue, different creators for every single story. And which is surprising, because a lot of the art looks the exact same with the type of styles they're going for. For example, apparently, I guess all of the series are like this. I've heard every other one is better than this one. I don't know. But I heard that all of them have the color scheme of only black, white, and red coloring. And usually the red would be for, like, blood. And that's about it. One of the stories in here actually uses that pretty well. I won't spoil it. But let's talk briefly about the people on this team for these short stories. Now, you're going to have a lot of unimpressive people, and a lot of people that you've heard of. And then maybe, like, one person, which is Donny Cates, to me, that I really enjoy, who had one of the best Venom runs. But you have, like, Teenie Howard in here. You have Chip Zdarsky, Ram V, which who even remembers Ram V at this point? Al Ewing. I don't know how to say his name, dude. Dan Slott is on here at one point, and yeah, it's not great. I was super confused when I first read this book. Like when I started it the other day, and I didn't know that it was going to be a short story collection. I just thought it was going to be something cool. I've read some random Carnage trades before, and picking them out, buying them for like $5 and $6, and they were pretty rad for what they were. But I didn't know this was a short story collection, so immediately when I started these stories and had no clue what was going on, because it can be anything. It could be the Carnage symbiote, or about Cletus Cassidy before he meets the symbiote, or whilst he has it, or in the future, or in the past. At one point, there's like a terrible-ass story. I think it's the Donny Cates one, matter of fact, which I thought this was awful. Probably one of his worst ideas I've ever seen Donny Cates do, about the Carnage symbiote being on a shark in the ocean and then working its way onto a boat one day. But it was like the most feared shark underwater. Like it was just killing everything, just like Carnage does with people. And you get a lot of goofy, terrible shit in this book like that. And even though a lot of the stories really suck, I really love the art. I think every artist, which also surprised me because, like I said, all of the art looks the same throughout the book. I thought it was different writers, but the same artist. It wasn't. The art is fantastic, no matter how bad the story gets, to me. But then you'll have like a story here and there that's kind of cool. There was one about, it kind of ended a little bit terrible, and most of these are like 6 or 7 pages max. There was one in particular about Cletus Cassidy, and it was like he could only see the symbiote, but like he tells us, the reader, that it's hiding everywhere. And like you'll see a character walking down the street, just a rando stranger, who'll have like, black and white body, black and white everything else on their clothing, and everything around them on the street is black and white. But then like their jacket or their purse might be red, which is symbolic of there's a symbiote hiding there. A lot of this book doesn't have the cleverness enough to do something like that story did. But like really none of these stories really hit me in a way that I really, really loved. And I'm not a fan of short story comics anyway. They don't have enough time to do anything. So I don't know if I'll check out any more of these Black, White, and Blood books. I heard the Wolverine one's fantastic, and I could be wrong about that. And I heavily, heavily doubt it. Because like I said, I never really find many short story comics that are actually good. But I don't know. I might try it out. I love Wolverine stuff, so, whatever. I don't know if there was like a Venom or a Spider-Man one or anything like that. Maybe I'll look into more of these Black, White, and Blood books just to see if there's other characters I already love that I could find something to enjoy from it. But it's kind of like right now, I'm reading Batman number 1000. I'd never read it yet. And even for Batman, it's like, it's just not that impressive. You can't do a lot with just a handful of pages per creator. To me, you can't. And I read Superman's Action Comics 1000 book, and I reviewed it here for the channel. I said the same thing there. If there's not enough time to give these writers something to work with, a lot of them can't do it. Not everybody's, made out to be able to pull off short stories, and this is a great example of a book that proves that no matter how good the art is. But anyway, Carnage Black, White, and Blood, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Even if you're a big Carnage person, maybe it's worth your time. But for me, being a big Carnage person, not a loyal one where I read everything, I'm trying, but I'm not there yet, I don't know if I'd recommend this to most people. It's pretty lame. It's not as focused on his serial killer aspects. And then you have like goofy story ideas like the Comic-Con one where he's like in a Comic-Con. People think he's wearing a costume. There's an element to that I like involving a cult. But that's like the big selling point. And then it just kind of ends and it's lame. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you all have to say about this book down in the comment section down below if you wasted your time on it. Again, props to every artist in here. I think everybody did a really good job with that. But it's weird that the limitations for black, white, and red coloring only really brought out the best of these artists at Marvel in current day. You know what I mean? It's very odd to me. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.